Now, Tyson Fury, it looks like, is only willing to come back if he's getting $500 million, which is 500 million. Obviously, you guys aren't idiots. You probably already know that, but it's a big sum of money. So, what many boxing fans, specifically the hardcores, they seen this coming from a mile away. I mean, I was giving Tyson Fury the benefit of the doubt. However, I feel like now I just cannot trust him because it just seems whatever Fury says, there's always a caveat to it. So, Fury is definitely not a trustworthy guy. But anyway, Tyson Fury, he is a prize fighter, and if he is to get in the ring, wherever it is, whether it's in the England, the States, or in the Middle East, he wants a big paycheck. It looks like he's going to watch the AJ Usyk fight unfold and just see how it goes. Some people are suggesting that if Usyk destroys AJ, Fury will just say, you know what, I'm retired, there's no reason to come back. And others are saying, yeah, he's more up for the AJ fight if AJ beats Usyk, that he will bite your hand off for the opportunity to fight Anthony Joshua because Joshua is vulnerable and Tyson Fury feels like he could easily beat Anthony Joshua. And just imagine the amount of revenue Anthony Joshua versus Tyson Fury can generate. So those are two good points that I've seen floating around from a lot of boxing fans. And listen, they do sound believable. We all see Tyson Fury saying, oh, Usyk is a middleweight and so on and so forth. Is this Tyson Fury making excuses, trying to avoid the Usyk fight? Because if he's suggesting Usyk is a middleweight and he's so adamant that Alexander Usyk is just a middleweight, he's trying to convince the casuals that Usyk really can't threaten Fury, and that Usyk is only 6'3" and that Tyson Fury is 6'9", and that there is no way in hell that someone who is 6'3" has a chance against someone who is 6'9", 200 and 70 odd pounds. That seems to be the kind of vibe I'm getting from Tyson Fury. Is this a way to avoid Alexander Usyk? Because his fans are definitely going to come out and say, oh yeah, well, Tyson Fury is way too big. Usyk's only 6'3", 220 pounds. Usyk doesn't stand a chance against Fury. Usyk needs to be careful for what he wishes for, and so on and so forth. So if, hypothetically, Alexander Usyk was to beat an Anthony Joshua, many people could see Tyson Fury just saying, you know what, I don't have to fight Usyk because of the points I just mentioned. And Tyson Fury's fans and a lot of casuals would be defending Fury and saying, oh, what's the point in even seeing an Usyk Fury fight? Usyk is just way too big. Again, this very narrow-minded, deluded way of viewing a boxing fight, just taking the guy's size rather than looking at the strengths and weaknesses of the fighters. I'm not saying Usyk does beat Fury, but I'm saying just mentioning the size and nothing else, none of the skills, none of the strengths and weaknesses of both fighters, is a very premature and basic analysis. So it seems as Tyson Fury is much more eager to fight an Anthony Joshua, and if Joshua were to win, that obviously he would try to make the fight happen because he doesn't think that Joshua is all that. He thinks that Joshua is just a bodybuilder who doesn't have much skills and who was a much easier code to crack, because Usyk, you must mention, is a southpaw and it can be quite tricky to, to deal with southpaws. That's why obviously a Terence Crawford, when he fights southpaw, can be so tricky. And Errol Spencer's a tricky fighter. A guy like a Shakur Stevenson is a tricky fighter because most of the top guys, they're not southpaw, they're orthodox. When you fight a southpaw, often your lead feet clash and it can just be awkward to really get much off against a southpaw. But yeah, those were my thoughts on Fury and him apparently wanting about 500 odd million to fight a Joshua or an Usyk, just to be involved in a fight really. I also seen him call out like a Tyson or a Lewis, saying that he's interested in one of those fights. I would like to say quite bizarre, but we're in a world where Logan Paul fought Floyd Mayweather, so it wouldn't shock me to see a Mike Tyson versus a Tyson Fury. However, Fury should probably just leave him alone. Tyson is old, man. Lennox is old now. They don't need to be in the ring. It's way too dangerous. We saw Evander Holyfield get into the ring unnecessarily, and he could have got seriously hurt Evander Holyfield. So it's best if these older guys, these legends, just stay out and enjoy their retirement. It's just interesting when you think who would be a more difficult matchup. I think most people at this point in time would say, yeah, obviously Usyk's a more difficult matchup. I would say the hardcores would say, sorry, Usyk is a more difficult matchup. The casuals wouldn't think so at all. The casuals would probably think that Fury stops Usyk inside 3 rounds. And they probably don't even think Joshua is a worthy enough opponent for Fury as well, even though Joshua has the best resume in the heavyweight division. Realistically, Usyk could really box with Tyson Fury. He could fight at mid-range. He could just time Fury, pace himself, because Usyk is someone who has a fantastic engine. Usyk moves his head off the center line and he can change levels, and he could time Fury, but he just needs to find his distance. Can he slip his way onto the inside? Once he gets on the inside, he doesn't need to be super close. He just needs to be, I'd say, at mid-range, at punching range, where he could hit him to the body and maybe hit him upstairs every now and again, because obviously Tyson Fury is a very tall guy. If Joshua were to fight Tyson Fury, I don't know. I don't know how that fight would go. I guess Fury's best bet would be to try and box with Joshua, and Joshua would obviously have to try and cut off the ring and pressure Tyson Fury. Joshua has never fought anyone to the dimensions of Tyson Fury. However, if Joshua were to get himself on the inside, remember, Joshua is one of the best fighters on the inside in the heavyweight division. Considering his height, that's incredible. Remember, in the first fight against Andy Ruiz, Joshua was able to drop Ruiz, and they went blow for blow on the inside, and Joshua had a lot of success. It's just that Andy Ruiz has an amazing chin, and he understands distance, and he had the shorter arms, which obviously gave him the slight advantage in relation to fighting on the inside. So yeah, what do you guys think? Could Joshua get to a Tyson Fury if he were fighting also at mid-range, landing some of his big combinations? That would be Joshua's best bet, wouldn't it? Try get on the inside, land your big shots, your hooks, your uppercuts, because Joshua has very crisp punches. His punches are extremely crisp. They're not like Tyson Fury's. Tyson Fury really likes to fight at long range. He doesn't have a great uppercut or hook, but he's got probably the best jab we've seen in a long time. But yeah, in order to get to Fury, you need to be at least on the inside or at mid-range. You have to find your range. When Deontay Wilder knocked him, I think it was the second time, knocked him the second time down. In the third fight, Deontay Wilder used his jab, his left arm, to kind of gauge distance, and then bang, he threw a right hand, and Fury kind of stepped into the shot, and we seen his, I think it was his midsection jiggle a lot, because it was a very big shot. But yeah, Tyson Fury, the consensus is that he is the top guy in the heavyweight division. It looks like if Joshua were to win, in my opinion, that he would return. However, if Usyk is to beat Joshua, I don't know. I don't think he would take that fight. I think he would be trying to tell people that, he's too big for Usyk, and the casuals will definitely fall for it, but I'm expecting the hardcores to not fall for it. So let me know what you guys think in the comment section down below. Would you like to see a Mike Tyson versus a Tyson Fury? Would you like to see Lewis versus Tyson Fury? Would you like to see a Joshua or Usyk fight Tyson Fury? Who has the best chance against Tyson Fury, and why? Go into detail about this, guys. I'm interested. Alright, don't forget to like and subscribe. Peace.